what is that productivity and profit, or profit and productivity? Real quick, I'm going to break down some observations about the overnight success. We've all heard it. We've all seen the conceptual, the imagery of like the iceberg. You see the tip, and there's all that crap under the water. That's cool. But it doesn't really get into the nitty gritty, and it's really, really important. So I'm going to start with a story. I'm going to tell you that I've been introduced to people that I have no business being introduced to sometimes. Starting from Jay Abraham to sitting at breakfast with the Abraham group, and then sitting in his office, and then developing a partnership with them, to Jeff Moore, who actually made the introduction. The reason I was sitting in front of Jeff Moore, he was kind enough to let me come to his office when I was in California, and what was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation ended up being like 8 hours, which opened up a whole bunch of other doors, and so on and so forth. And I just heard from somebody that did an office day, and she sent me a slide. She's running an event, very, very, very influential woman running an event. And she sent me a slide, and she said, "How can I credit you? How can I source you appropriately?" And I was like, "What?" And I looked at it, and I realized it's a cognitive behavior model that I developed over the last 5 or 6 years of just working with people, right? And when she came in for an office day, we spent solid 8 hours really breaking down how to communicate with both parents and children, because she owns dance studios. She has 4 dance studios of her own and 300 dance studios under her model. Okay. And she has a huge, huge mission. And she said, "How can I credit you?" So I looked at the material, and it was a graphic of what I broke down with her, and then my name and contact info and all that, which was really nice. I like when people actually give credit. Most people don't. And I remember it was something that I'd been struggling with for 5 or 6 years to articulate and break down and turn into a framework. I turned things into frameworks, right? So when she came in, we broke it down, we turned it into a framework, kind of had my way with it, sent her on her way, forgot all about it. Now she's presenting it at an event that is packed, and just let me know that Success Magazine has actually requested to come and check it out, and all that stuff, right? So now we have this massive event from this incredibly influential person. Success Magazine and a few other are going to document it, and she's already done amazing things. And there's a big old fat slide up there with my framework, and again, bless her heart, credited me. I won't be surprised if I get contacted and get business from it. That's what happens. So how does this happen? The oversimplified way to explain overnight success, the way that I've seen it, is to be helpful. Now, the problem is most people aren't actually helpful. They have good intentions, but they haven't worked deep enough on any real thing to develop a real deep understanding and frameworks, and the ability to see it, explain it, articulate it, and build it from a multitude of different perceptions, right? Because the way we see things is just from our arbitrary viewpoint. So the one is be helpful. You have to come from a place of being helpful. You can never lose that. The second thing is an obnoxious amount of deep work, really, really deep work in understanding things that may or may not be academic in nature, but the process of deep work is academic and scientific in nature. Because otherwise you end up trying to be helpful with good intentions and causing a bunch of damage. So the first one is you have to come from a place of being helpful at all times. At all times, come from a place of being helpful. By helpful, I mean useful, not nice, not good intentions. I mean actually be useful to people that are trying to accomplish a thing. And the only way to do that at scale is to have an understanding of all, if you talk about spiral dynamics, there's 7 different viewpoints. If you talk about like levels of consciousness with power versus force, there's like 10 different levels. You have to be able to see things from all these levels, meet people where they're at, and detach from the outcome. And so the concept that is the very foundation, is that it is detaching from the outcome. It is, you have to be helpful, come from a place of a ton of deep work and understanding. Those are the two ingredients. But the ongoing theme is you have to detach from the outcome. You do not help people so you can get famous. You do not help people so they will return the favor, right? And that is the magic. That is how overnight success happens. And so, for example, one of the quantum leaps in my life was probably meeting and partnering with Jeff Moore, who this $2 bill is from Jeff. So a quantum leap in my life moving forward is probably meeting with Jeff. And after about an hour, we decided to go walk around Balboa Island. And after about 2 or 3 hours of walking, he sat down. He said, "I don't care that you're half my age. The way you're talking to me, the things you're saying, how understanding you are." Then he closed the door in his conference room and like locked us in there and said, "I think you can help me." Right? And I said, "I don't know if I can, but let's just talk about it." It came from a place of having a really, really deep understanding of a thing or a series of things, and coming from a place of being helpful. No attachment to the outcome. Every quantum leap of everybody I've ever talked to, Dan Nicholson and I did a whole series on it, has been a result of one, having a really deep understanding of what you know and what you don't know, being able to shift or at least understand a multitude of different perspectives and detaching from the outcome, being helpful to be helpful. So that's 8 years. 8 years now. 21, 20, yep. 8 years I've been working on this model. I've only shared it with like 2 people. It's really, really deep, and it requires a lot of reinventing to be useful. So for example, the model, in order to show it to a whole bunch of female entrepreneurs, has to be reinvented into their language and understanding and context. So I only shared it with 2 people, and I've been working on it almost every day for 8 years. And maybe I get a bunch of attention for it. Maybe I don't. But that overnight success will be a byproduct of being helpful and just doing a ton of work. Like, it's never done. So that's my share with you today. I'm going to go live with Dan Nicholson in about 40 minutes for his cash flow engineering masterclass. Again, it's another guy that understands a multitude of different perspectives, has a deeper knowledge of a thing, most things really, but a deeper knowledge of a thing than pretty much anybody on the planet, which is how you can come from. It's how you be helpful. It's how you be useful. So it's that. Hope it's useful. Bumpersbook.com. If you go to bumpersbook.com, you will also get put on a list called Book Buyers. And this framework, now that it's being shared publicly and it's got my name on it, this framework I'm going to start to distill down, and it will probably be the second version or the follow-up to Bumpers. It will be the cognitive behavior therapy, basically a framework to get what you want. Bumpers was about avoiding the gutters, right? Setting parameters, having boundaries. There's actually a systematic way to get what you want by adjusting your input and output accordingly. It's just cognitive behavior therapy. I just built a new framework for it. So if you already have Bumpers, if you're on the buyer list, you'll get version 2 whenever I have the time to distill it down. If you're not on the book, or if you're not on the list, get Bumpers until you have Bumpers, and nothing else is going to work anyway, because you're going to end up in the gutter starting over. So that's that. You guys are awesome. If you're in the wealth, the cash flow engineering class, I'll see you there. If not, you should be. It's pretty awesome. And if you're a Bumpers book buyer, then you'll get notified when the next thing comes out. Cool.